Hello, neighbor. How are you doing? It's been 4 weeks since I last released an episode, and I'm so grateful to you for listening. Even though I have not released in a while, yes, the health challenges that have prevented me are not entirely gone, but I can manage right now, and I'm grateful. I will be able to talk about it in a couple months, but not yet. So for now, I just want to share the story we've been doing. I hope our excitement hasn't died down. And if it has died down, no problem. That's what I'm here for, to revive it. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so grateful. Thank you for being part of our community. So we've been doing Glow of the Everflame by Penn. And where we ended things in the last episode, Diem went to this Corbois dinner with the cousins. It's just the Corbois cousins that are supposed to be there. But Ileana Hanover happened to be there too. That is Luther's ex-betrothed. Like the person that they said, okay, you're going to marry this lady, wants to become king and she's to be queen. Ileana was there. And she's not even a Corbois, so why is she there? And then Eamon now told Diem that, of course, is Luther. He likes him whatever he wants. So he invited Ileana. Sometime halfway through the whole thing, Ileana and Luther disappeared. And Diem is now left wondering, where did they go to? And it's giving her these double thoughts. Like, didn't I just have a moment with Luther? Just upstairs before we came down for this. What is this? Okay? Regardless, she handles herself well at the dinner party with the cousins. In fact, after Ileana leaves, it's as though the Corbois cousins even opened up. Like they were curious, asking her, so how was your human, your mortal upbringing? It's as though they could not even ask her that question, because out of the 20 top houses in the realm, the Hanoverians hate mortals the most. So they could not even express that curiosity about Diem's mortal upbringing until Ileana was no longer there. So they're now asking Diem questions. And she was answering them, and I'm sorry I cannot give details now. Perhaps I'll give him in later time to come because I can't remember. Really, I can't. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you're not in a story for a while. It's like, okay, how am I supposed to tell the story? Thank God I kept a summary of a script, but the details are not coming to me anymore for now. But I'm going to do better. Thank you so much. So now the party is done. Ileana and Diem are walking back together. Diem is swaying from the descended wine she took in while there. Dinner was a Sussex, as the cousins think she's vicious. So that's the news that will spread around. Now Diem thanks the gods, thank the gods that this went well. Ileana corrects her and says, we say thank the kindreds among descended. You said by the flames back there during dinner. Thankfully, you didn't say that at the ball. Please, you have to be extra careful, Queen. You understand? Now, approaching her room, she sees Luther glaring at the ground. That is, Diem sees the same Luther that disappeared at dinner. He's waiting outside of her room. So Eleanor now waves goodbye and flees. Literal flees, because I do not want to face Luther looking like that. Like while he's in that mood. That's what Eleanor feels. So Diem wants to ignore Luther, who demands that he wants to speak in private. And one of the guards forcefully pushes him back. As per why you encroaching the queen when she didn't give you permission. And this guard turns out to be Petty or Pets, That's one of the guards Diem pulled out from the fire just less than a week ago, while she would still believed herself to be fully mortal and co. And he's recovered. They sent him to Fortress, where the Fortress healers helped him. So Diem hugged him. Now, Pet is from House Bennett, but he wanted to be on her personal retinue after what Diem did to save him. And Diem now tells him, I can't think of a man more worthy to serve me. And that answer she gives Pets causes a snarl from Luther, who's like, yo, I've been here for you, Queen. Hello, look at me. So now the guards barred Luther from entering until Diem now gives permission. Soraya also pulls back upon seeing Luther's thunderous reaction. As far as Soraya put her face through, saw Luther, he's not happy, just pure. I'm like, why is everybody avoiding angry Luther? So now Diem stumbles in her heels over the rug. So Luther now carries her. So her back now hits the bed, ripping many chains, holding up her dress. Remember that she's wearing a dress that is so flimsy, it's just being held by chains at the corners. When I listened to the deep dive of this particular part of the story, the ladies who are doing the deep dive kept wondering, I'm pretty sure that clothes, you can't even wear underwear with it, which is making me wonder a lot of things in this scene. That's what the ladies were on and on about. Like, what kind of underwear or no underwear? It was just funny. So regardless, let's just focus on what happened in this scene, not the underwear situation. Now, when her back hits the bed and those chains rip out, Luther now pulls her feet up because she's wearing those heels. So she starts playing a dangerous game and starts trailing her shoe from his knees, his hips, his chest, and he pulls it higher still. That's what's making people wonder, doesn't it like open up a gown and, is she flashing him? That's the talk here. So regardless, he focuses on unwinding the rope of her shoes slowly, and he's gently kneading the legs, like massaging her leg, and she's resisting moaning. And then when he's done with that, like removing her shoe, massaging the leg, he asks for her other leg, and she wants to be stubborn because there's this dominance he's done, but he's not possessive, he's more protective. And then when she now gives him her leg, eventually her other leg, so he can remove her shoe for her, he now says, "Good girl." And she now tells him, "When you said you wanted to serve me, I didn't know foot massages were involved." So he now tells her, "Should I get on my knees and beg to kiss you again?" So she answers him, "Your lover won't like that." He now throws back at her, "Neither would yours." And she now pulls away. But when she pulls away from him, she gets up and goes to her wardrobe. So luckily for her, the moment she's like donning on a dressing robe is the same time the last chain in her dress is snapping and dress is pulling on the ground around her, even though she would have just been like pew pew in her birthday suit. Thankfully not. So now he came to inform her that her magic training would start the following morning. He helps her untug the clasps holding her head together. She argues that she needs time to get ready, but he mentions that her beauty shines through no matter what. He's seen her in worse states and he's never actually turned an eye. She wants to know why he's helping her, that her own family secrets led her to become queen that is so ill-prepared. He points out that she sat next to the biggest wolf of House Corbois, Amen. He now asks her, "What must I do to prove myself to you?" And he's sounding desperate and furious at the same time. He now tells her, "Break from House Corbois if you wish. It changes nothing. I will still serve you. Appoint every soul in the realm as your advice about me. Marry a mortal. Worse, make yourself off to that snake Amen." And then he now tells her, "Exile me from the realm. I'll serve you from afar." This is how far his loyalty goes. But then her question still remains, why? It's so weird, really, that you're pledging all these things to me, but your why, it's not there. Why would I just take your words at face value? It's logical that she's questioning his why. So she tells him that she chose Eleanor as advisor because Eleanor from the start was open about her motives, same as Aemon, but she has no idea what Luther's motives are. She can't trust anyone in this castle. So he hopes that she extends this same thing she's saying, the whole "I can't trust anyone in this castle," so that she extends that same mindset towards mortals, as they all will use her, especially that boy she wants to marry, the one she begged to marry her, and he wouldn't until she offered him a crown. Diem now says, where did your support for me go? Luther now tells her that he will stand by her outside, including dying if he must, but in private, he's going to speak plainly. So she now gives him the worst blow ever, and now tells him, "Interest in your own family don't know you, but you want to give your life for someone you're nothing to." When Diem throws those very cruel words at him, he shuts her off. He now goes back to this cruel, unreachable prince. She touches his back to apologize, but he pulls away. He tells her, "Not even if you despise me, not even if I am nothing to you, because my calling comes from a higher authority than even you can claim, your majesty. As she guarded my heart, I will guard over yours, even if it kills me." The aura of his power is flaring, his pulsating energy is flowing the room. It's seizing Diem in this furious, desperate grip. Its thousand invisible hands are clutching at her face, her arms, her legs, and everywhere in between. Her own power is humming in harmonious response, and is clawing against the inside of her skin, pleading to be set free and match his magic's mighty wrath. With Luther, he's always like fighting against fate, and she thinks to herself, I think I'm tired of fighting this person, and I want to surrender to a kiss or anything. But Luther pulls away and leaves her alone. The next day, Diem is in the dungeon. She's learning to dance from Lily. She's stepped on Lily 1,000 times. Why Stella is just laughing at the corner. Diem didn't want Stella to keep coming to the palace, but Stella begged Lily to keep sneaking him in. So Lily now shares how Luther said Diem's born to be a queen based off how she handled the cousins in the previous night dinner. So when Lily says this, Diem was like, when did he tell you this? Last night that he was hiding in my room to avoid Ileana. So that's when it dawns on DM that, Luther didn't disappear with Ileana as she assumed. Luther disappeared to hide in Lily's room so that Ileana would stop disturbing him. That's what happened. So Lily's in a dress right now, while they're practicing dancing, while DM is in a tunic and pants for the magic training. So DM is now asking Tella to keep reading to her to distract her. Now, Tella had charted the key members of each house, their positions and mottos, the industries they invested in, and old historical rivalries. So while she's listening to Tella just give her all the gist about the 20 powerful houses, her focus is bouncing back and forth over the page in an effort to commit it all to memory. And it's feeling a discouraging gloominess. I don't even know any of these things. If I had known at least one thing, I would be encouraged. But it's like I know nothing. And that's just making me feel meh. Next thing, DM's feet tangles in Lily's dress and she trips. Tella is laughing at her. So because of that reason, DM is like, oh yeah, come and dance with Lily instead. That she's just going to observe and learn while going over the notes. Now, while both of them are dancing, Tella and Lily, both of them are glowing positively. There's a mix of pride in DM coupled with guilt, knowing that their relationship won't end well. Next thing, a shadow falls across her. She feels his power, perceives his scent. And then this person sits beside her. This person she already knows is Luther. And her thoughts are reflected on his face about their siblings. She blots before he can say anything. They're helping me prepare for the ball. He now tells her that he came to her room with breakfast, but she was gone. He now apologizes. And she now breathes a sigh of relief, like, oh, okay, he's forgiven the harsh things I said last night. And she's about to do the same, like, I'll apologize to. But he stops her saying she's right. And yeah, you're right, that I'm nothing to you. And she wants to scream at him like, no, it's not true. You are something to me. She wants to explain that when she had said that he was nothing to her, she'd only meant that they had no formal ties, no shed blood or years of friendship, no advisory or obligation. But then to confess that she doesn't understand why he trusts her, cares for her so much more than people he had known his whole life, and she feels the exact way about him. But then she keeps quiet because even if I tell him those things, it's not like we can have any formal ties still. I'm a betrothed woman, okay? She now goes for, well, we're friends. Luther now asks her what advice her. DM says, don't push your luck. Now they're staring at each other. They don't even realize they're staring at each other until they notice that, the environment is quiet. So when they look up, Tella is frowning while Lily's smiling. Tella and DM now have this silent eye conversation. He now tells her that, well, she's going to be great tonight and she won't need a challenging because she'll kill them all with her dancing steps. Oh my God, trust siblings to be very not kind. He now misses DM's swipe but collides with Luther's frosty look as per, you with my sister, that kind of frosty look. So after Tella gets away, Luther mentions that he did it. He did the frosty look because Tella made fun of his screen. DM was like, well, let's just pretend it has nothing to do with his interest in your little sister. So now Luther and DM are alone. They're waiting for Taran and Alex so that they can start training. So he offers to teach her dancing. But in her mind, she's like, it's not a wise idea for me to be in close proximity with him like that. So she declines. They now stand awkwardly. So they now talk about their scars. He now asks her, did she really mean what she said the previous night at the dinner with the cousins about scars being a sign of all you've overcome? She now starts showing him her scars and it leads to her removing her tunic. So he's 10. He looks like lightning exploded from within his body and shattered his flesh. So DM doesn't even know when she gets so mad. She now asks him, who did this to you? He tells her that he's taking care of it. Her hand goes to rest on his chest. So his hand entwines in hers on his chest. So that vision they both had in the burning building returns. So the vision of Lumnos isn't always as they appear. That's what Luther explains to her. So when he says this, Liam now says, that implies you've had visions of her before. Now, before they can go deeper in that conversation, Taran's voice breaks through. Taran now says, oh, are we going topless for the training? Luther and Cases are in shadows. They try to rouse her powers with emotions. Nothing. Oh my God. So the day that DM first revealed her magic, that day she burst out with magic, when Luther goaded her, was the worst day of her life because it represented everything she would lose. That is, all her mortal friends would die and she'll keep living on and on. But if she doesn't still learn to use the same magic, she's going to be dead in weeks. Now, the ball. Eleanor now tells her, okay, concerning what you're going to wear, let's look at intention behind it. A blank canvas. You're not defined by house or your powers. No one knows anything about you. So you can pick an outfit, anything, to just portray that. So Sorey now keeps watch of the guests. Her snarl, Sorey's snarl is the longest when House Hanovera arrive. Because, hey, House Hanovera hates mortals the most. Descended from other realms also makes Sorey wary, although they are supposed to be powerless. As a descendant, if you're not on your home realm, your Terramere realm, you get, if you're not from Lumnos, you cannot use your powers on Lumnos. Alright? So, but still, Sorey is still wary of them. Now, Aemon now arrives in an outfit suitable for a king to escort Diem to the ball. So Diem laughs at his audacity, but he croons as an honor to be her date. Diem plainly informs Aemon that she knows this is a blackmail because Luther told her. Aemon chalks it up to Luther's lies and his way of turning everyone else away from the crown. That is, of making himself look good to the crown and everybody else look bad. So Aemon now tells Diem that Luther has only allowed his close friends near her and marks his territory. So Diem now tells him, no one owns me. Aemon now tells her, I just want to be closer to you. She feels unease, but she tells him she's going to think about it. Now, the way this guy is good at making Diem doubt Luther, though. He's good. There are two characters when I was listening to the deep dive of this part of the story that are considered complex. That is Aemon and Henry. Aemon is someone that the things he says, they're not complete lies, but they're not truths either. You know, he's that kind of good liar that would use a truth and whap a lie. Do you understand? And it's usually always to his advantage at the moment. So if you happen to be on the side that would benefit him, you will gain. If you happen not to be on that side, you will lose. It's that simple. That's Aemon. So the guards lead Aemon and Diem through the back passages and service corridors. They meet servants who drop things, shocked to see Diem, and Diem thanks them for their service. Aemon doesn't, because these are lesser Corbois, too distant, and they have weak powers. For these lesser Corbois, right, whose powers are weak, is a favor that the bigger Corbois are letting them stay and serve in the castle. Now, the Descended have a caste system among themselves. But suddenly, they hear this sudden scuffle. They think it's a drunken guest. But then, Diem hears a familiar voice that says, bring me Diem Bellator. She pushes through the guards to get to Henry, who is bleeding from his nose and his lip. He's in mortal finery. That is, you can tell he did his best to show up in his best. Like he borrowed the clothes or shoes. But what he's wearing among the Descended would not even make a cut for the servants. That is, the mortal's finest clothes is rag for servants. You get. Diem commands the guards to stand down. The guards now use shadow magic to block Diem and Henry from the view of the guests. She asks the guards to keep those shadows there for privacy. She's not like, Henry, this one you're here, did you not get my message? He got the message, but he still came. He thinks Diem is losing herself among these people. He's so full of hate here, vengeance and lethal rage. So he now tells her that these people have to learn how to start bowing to their mortal king. Diem flinches. Because, man, she used to have, that much hate towards the Descended, that black and white way of thinking. But now that she's met a number of them, she knows they're just people, right? He now tells her, he even hesitates before telling her this. As per, he's weighing it, is she still on outside or not? He now tells her there's an army of guardians outside ready to blow up the castle and everyone in it. They have no care for the children. He's solidly sold on hate and destruction, and that breaks Diem's heart. She hates the Descended tenfold right now for taking away everything that makes her her. Henry boils as a figure enters the room. She assumes it's Luther, and she throws Henry's knife out of his reach and asks the guards to take him to the dungeons. She begs him with her eyes to understand. But all he sees when he looks at her is betrayal, like you betrayed me. There's no willingness to forgive in his eyes, no understanding. So an unfamiliar scent wraps Diem in his arms. And the scent feels wrong. The sense is assuring her everything will be well. So she doesn't even know when she blurts out, I need Luther. The person holding her stiffens. That's Aemon. Now, she now tells him, I need Luther to order the guards. She corrects herself. Now, she now feels Luther enter, both his power and his panic. So Luther approaches and now asks, is she hot? Aemon doesn't acknowledge Luther until Diem weakly asks Aemon for privacy. So Aemon gives Luther this loaded look. In Luther's arms, he's cleaning the blood on her fingers. That's Henry's blood with his jacket. She tells him about the army and that she doesn't want them dead. So he now has an idea of how they can deal with this situation. She has to unblock the magic of the Umbers in attendance. The Umbers people, they have mind magic. They can control your mind with their magic so that they can make the mortals live peacefully. You know, the guardians who are outside waiting to blow up the palace once Henry gives them a sign. But since Henry is in the dungeons, he can't give them a sign. So now they would have to find a way to make those guardians live peacefully through mind magic. But then the side effect of unlocking the magic of these Umbers is that they will know all the secrets of everyone gathered there. She wants Luther to go so that his secrets don't come to light, but he tells her they already know. And this is strange to her. So everybody knows your secrets except me. Oh, interesting, okay. So their queen also knows. The Umber's queen also knows Luther's secrets because they're loyal to her. But she's not done anything with that knowledge. Again, Diem is just thinking to herself, okay. She tells her that she doesn't know how to unblock the Umber's magic. He now tells her that the crown and the soil are one, that she should feel it. So she shuts her eyes and she feels it, feels how she's connected to every living being, the blades of grass in the nose, those kind of things. And then she now feels it for the first time, that the mortals and descended are hers to protect as queen. That's the weight on her shoulders. So she senses 16 foreign beings on the soil. They're encased in shells. She now uses her thought to break those of two. That's the two Umbers, representatives of Umber. She now watches Luther go to do as she requested. He's the right arm of the queen. But why does she have the feeling that what he does for her has nothing to do with the crown? So Diem returns to Aemon, who has a bowl of water and towel waiting. He's seen her weak parts. That's what she thinks. And only time will tell how he uses it against her. Although he looks compassionate right now. Now, earlier, when he came to her in her room, he gave her a necklace of a phoenix, indicating the house of Corbois. That's a signal of the house of Corbois. She views it as a thinly veiled threat, though, for some reason. Now, they're about to enter the ballroom, and he now places shimmers on them, so they'll look like fairies. He now tells her, "Ye Corbois, and breaks your phoenix." Now, they're announced, and they enter the ballroom. This ballroom is decorated in vine and shadow, is resembling night sky, and they're the moon. They're both dressed in white. Coupled with her colorless eyes and white hair, she has this vaginal look, this blank page look. Remy Sangare to grunt approval at her choice of clothes, because it makes her appear meek. Now, after the house of Corbois welcome or greet her as a show of power, the representatives from the other 8 realms come forward to greet her. It looks like honor. Oh, let's honor our guests. But it's actually a ploy to get them to leave as quickly as they came. Now, from photos, there are red eyes, muscled army warriors with a weapon that looks like Breck's handwork. Breck now that gave Diem a photoshoot steal in book 1. The people from Montios looks like druids, a druidic couple. They have violet eyes, velvety skin. They live on the mountains. They give her a 4-line coat, spelled to always keep the wearer warm. They turn away before she can ask questions. We'll learn later that they don't talk. People from the Montios, they have this vow of silence. There is the green-eyed pair from Aborus. They give her this emerald-hued potion to cure any ills, unless it's caused directly from the gods. The Faunus descended looked disappointedly human. She was expecting them to look like half animal or something. They have yellow eyes, and then they present 2 furry animals meant for Griven food. The moment she says that, because they're so cute, these furry animals. The way Diem calls Lily and passes the furry animals to her and is like, get them far away from Sorry. As for Sorry, they chop those animals, I beg. Now, dark onyx eyes, only the man, because the woman is busy taking care of Diem's business. Getting the guardians away. It's just the one person, dark onyx eyes. That's a man in goatee. This is the Umbrous man. Even Aemon is suspicious that his partner is busy on Diem's business, whatever that is. His magic invades Diem's head, turning her mind foggy. He's projecting suggestively with thoughts on her. So now, the voice in Diem now tells her fight. The thought he's projecting is that he is having sex with her in public. Everybody's watching and coming from it. So that voice in Diem gets angry, fight. So magic explodes at extremities in Diem, and she shuts him out. So veins are now popping at the sides of his head as his talons are scratching at her skull, trying to get back into her head. It's not working. So she now asks him, so the gift from your queen, he tells her it's been delivered. You're welcome for the advice. He now lowers his chain with a glare and tells her, when forgotten blood on Hearthstone falls, then shall the chains be broke. He says in a bitter drawl, life for life, or death requires, or eternal be his yoke. So Diem is transported to that afternoon of the Scarlet Sun, the day she turned 20 years old, when she encountered the old woman with dark onyx eyes. at Paradise Row. The woman trapped her with the magic of the mind. That was the Umber's queen, that old woman. And when the old woman now said, listen close, that have the forgotten. Stop running from who you are. Stop hiding. And stop taking that cursed flame red powder. He knows about you, your father. He's waiting for you. So that's the gift. Okay? So Simon flees as Diem tries to pursue to find out more. Now the Ober's queen will see her coronation is the last thing he tells her if she survives the challenge. So Eleanor yanks Diem back when she tries to go after Simon. Was the Queen of Umbers invited to this realm around forging time? Eleanor tells her, no one would dare invite the Umber's queen as they're terrified, and she can empty out one's mind at a snap of the fingers. The next couple that approaches Diem to present a gift, this couple have rose-colored eyes. They approach with 2 gifts. The orb of answering is going to answer 3 questions, yes or no answers. They're from Sophos. There's something sinister about them that raises Diem's hackles. They offer her brother invitation to Sophos. Everyone is thrilled, but Diem shuts it down, after what she heard from Henry, that they study until they become the studied on. She now bids them farewell. She bids the Sophos people farewell, but they are not leaving just yet, as they have business with House Bennet. Evelyn Bennet, who supplies weapons to all of Lumnos, will be housing them for as long as they want. And if Diem interferes, every last house will rise to challenge her. It's a bad thing not to be in your power, because how can you threaten a queen like this? Now, next thing, Evrim's daughter runs into Diem's embrace. This girl is that little girl that Diem treated that time that she went to the Bennet house to prove her loyalty to the Guardians. His son shrinks from her, and everyone wonders, why don't I know you when my children does? So she remembers the circumstances of that visit that led to the innocent guards dying and forces herself to be pleasant. So after the Bennet house greets her, the next stop is the Hanover house. Iliana is supporting Mate, her grandma. It's the only house more obsessed with breeding pure blood as per their sigil, that the sign of their house is white rose with a drop of blood. As per that drop of blood is the only the motto that coupled with the kindred, that's the only blood. They pride themselves that the only people they mate with, they marry and procreate with are pure descended. They don't have any half-breed blood in their blood or whatever. So they're full of disdain at Diem's mortal upbringing. Mate expects Diem to honor the betrothal between Luther and Liliana. So Diem now recalls Luther mentioned nothing about it to her. And when she says that, Eliana gets angry. And Diem is like, oh, what I said is worth it if it means this girl gets angry. But then Diem gets attacked. Mate brings up how Diem was in the room when Uther died. She was found with a weapon, masquerading as a healer, drawing close to the prince and visiting his bedroom. So there are whispers all around like, she did this. These people have been digging for information, trying to definitely make Diem look bad. So Diem starts yelling it's a misunderstanding. Everyone is stepping back from her, and there is no Luther in sight to save her. He's clearing her other messes. So this is her. She has to stand on her own. So right now is the time she has no choice but to throw off that image of vapid queen, because she stands up and now asks, does House Hanover accuse House Corbois of murdering his own beloved Uther? Diem points out that House Corbois were responsible for picking healers, visiting Forthos, changing shades, feeding of Uther before his demise, especially his brothers. Now all attention fall on the brothers, the Garrett and Remits. They're stammering, and Diem is blazing hot. She now says, if so, you must believe the Fortress healers to be complicit in this extravagant scheme. Perhaps the Fortress representatives have not yet departed. I'm sure the king will be very interested to hear your accusations against him. So Mate is now like, I would never. Diem cuts her off. I'm sure you must have simply misspoken. Because if it were discovered that you had invented such a vicious lie, without even a shred of evidence to support it, in order to stir up unrest against your queen, well, that would be treason. The way Mate's mouth snaps closed, Diem may have won this round, but knows Hanover is preparing for war. So Diem takes a drink and hides away. Pete helped. Now, Amon's been acting like they're mated already, or she's carrying his child. The way he's been behaving at this ball. She drinks half bottle. She wants to return to dance. A pitiful laughter escapes Diem at this point, because she's thinking, whoa, there's a realization dawning on her right here. That there is a thin line between her and who she hates. Because look at her out here. She's drinking, she's dancing, while the mortals are out there in poverty. She tries to leave where she's hiding, but then she picks Ileana's golden hair. And Ileana and Luther are talking. Ileana is now telling Luther that Diem shouldn't even be alive. She's a half-breed. That she has no education. That she lived in a hut. And she's going to ruin everything the 20 houses has built. Eleanor mercifully catches her in the act, and they both eavesdrop together. The way Luther is loyal to Diem here, he wasn't even as loyal to Uther. That's what Ileana points out. Luther now promises to wipe out House Honavera if they dare to hurt Diem. That's what he tells Ileana. Now, back at the ball, Diem dances with Aemon and scolds him for acting too close to her. He points out he did it so questions about any of her actual lovers won't come out. And he also did it to prevent other males from approaching her. It's logical. So that's what I'm saying. The thing about Aemon is that he's excellent at his politics thing. So she thanks him. And he also makes her look graceful in dancing, which she knows she's not. So he brings up what it was Luther went to do. She's blabbing, but she's saved by the end of the music and Theron. So she rushes into Theron's arms. To Diem, Theron reminds her of Tella. So once he confirms she's going through with the betrothal, he warns her that she's being manipulated as he pretends to be your friend, only to use your biggest weakness against you. So Diem now tells Theron, Henry isn't like that. Theron now like, who's Henry? He thought they were talking about Aemon. So it now dawns on Theron that Diem's betrothed to Immortal. Luther has actually been keeping that from him. Theron now goes, no wonder Aemon knows about it. So because of this reason, Theron now says, oh wow, I might really kill Aemon if he ever threatens you, Diem. That he's a selfish prick, there's nothing else underneath. So Diem is angry, like everybody trying to influence her to one thought or another. She starts leaving only to get cornered by Lyanna's brother Jean and the Hanoveri cousins. They want to see her magic and obviously she can't conjure any. So she's stuck in a big game. Jean now reaches for the scar on her neck and now says, what would I do with you, Diem Bellator? Next in the hand is breaking his wrist and now says, kneel to your queen. That's Luther. Luther now tells Jean Hanoveri, that is Lyanna's brother, that Diem's magic will hurt everyone there if she is to unleash it. And Diem knows it's true, but Jean and Cole look on with hatred. They now tell her they're going to see her magic as challenging. Petty is that guard who is a Bennett, but after Diem saved his life, he's part of her personal retinue of guards right now. So Luther briefs that guard Petty on Diem's tendency to run off. Now, Eleanor, for the rest of the ball, serves as dance card monitor, passing Diem to older men, urging her on topics to discuss and flee from. Luther is within sight. He dances with only Lily, and finally, at the last dance, she involuntarily chooses him over Aemon. It's electricity that loses her tongue. She's admitting to her insecurities, her fears, and she blurts, how am I supposed to take down the crowns and stop the descendant when I can't? She blots out the whole entirety of her plan of being queen. She's like, oh my God. She tries to shrink back. He pulls her back in and now tells her, this is exactly why I agreed to serve you. That Lumnos had love for mortals the most. I wanted her descendants to protect them, not this misery. She complains about her qualities that are not honed. But he tells her, but that's exactly what your leadership needs. He now tells her, I have seen that and the kindness you've shown Petty, my family, even Aemon for kindred's sake. And I saw it tonight in the mercy you asked me to show the guardians. Any other descended crown would have slaughtered them, and any mortal crown would have let them slaughter us. She's kind of a balance between the mortals and the descended. So Luther even had Henry sent home for her sake. And let me tell you, the encounter between Luther and Henry was not nice. Henry is someone that sees Diem as his equal, sort of, and then not. Why would I bow to her? She's my equal. It's the rest of you who should. You get, when he had this conversation with Henry in the dungeon, it was a whole lot, and I can't remember because I didn't read that part. It's part of the bonus chapters. This bonus chapter with Luther and Henry is added to the revised hardback covers that were published. So I don't have access to it, so I did not read it. In the deep dive that I listened to, it was mentioned, and like I said, I listened to that deep dive about 4 weeks ago or so. So I don't remember the details, but I just know that Henry really failed in Luther's eyes. When Luther went to meet him, for him to come out from there, it was not a nice encounter at all. Maybe I'll listen to it again or get a reference and maybe mention it in a future podcast episode. Right now, like I said, I am recovering. So I'm just taking it easy and trying to just share the heart of the story. Thank you. So Diem wants to end the unjust rule of the descendant. War is coming. Diem knows that for certainty. But instead of joining his side, she thinks she should lead an army. So Luther rests his forehead against hers and tells her, you are my queen and I am your sword. Point me at your enemies and watch them fall. Lead this war, Diem, and I'll follow you into war, into the thunder of hell itself. You are the fate my heart was spared for. As long as it beats, you'll never fight alone. Her heart explodes. She's chalking it up to lust and physical attraction. She reminds him how he said at dinner that he has no intention of marrying her, only serving her. So he explains to her that as someone who was announced heir to the crown, everyone wanted something from him. So he vowed when she became queen that he wouldn't take from her, but he's failed because he actually wants all of her. He now tells her, I want every breath, every laugh, every tear, every taste of your mouth, every inch of your skin. I want to kneel at your feet, soaked in the blood of your enemies, then worship your body until you scream my name. His hand slides down to her hips and tucks her close. He now says, yes, Diem, I want to serve you in every way man can. I want to stand by your side for the rest of my life, and I don't need you to marry me and make me a king to do it. So he tells her that she has all of him. So they have a tender kiss. I think there's a part I really don't understand because I think there was an almost kiss here or there was not an almost kiss. Because I didn't reread this part, I don't know for sure, you know. But I think it wasn't deep or it was dark and nobody really saw it yet. But there was some tenderness around this and Diem pulls back. Eleanor is talking. Amon is pulling her away. Luther's hand on chest saluting her. And then he quietly leaves. Now, the first day of house meetings, she's walking with Eleanor. Diem is walking with Eleanor to the house meetings. Eleanor is applauding how well the ball went, teasing and asking what happened with Luther. Did he finally confess his love? So she tells Eleanor that he said he wants me and that I have all of him. Eleanor swoons. But Diem feels she's losing herself. Eleanor uses the finished necklace to make a point and now tells her, we are not reborn in the flames, we are revealed. This man you engaged to, if you love him, then fight for him. But if you're only holding on to him because you're afraid of losing who you are, nothing can take that from you, Diem. No crown, no man, not even the kindred themselves. Okay? So it's such a bonding girl moment. Both of them press their foreheads against each other. They're interrupted by Taran, who now asks them, are you about to kiss? He and Luther approach him with smacks. Luther stiffens at the sight of tears in Diem's eyes. You need to see how both of them react at the men. Luther and Taran, they're like, who do we need to kill? Who caught you? You know, that kind of thing. Both of them are like, calm down. We're just emotional. Okay? Calm down. You know, now Eleanor walks with Taran and Luther walks with Diem. Now at the conceal, guess who's on the conceal today? Andrea Bellator. He's regaling Taran and Co. with stories of Diem growing up. It's cute, but the moment shatters as Garrett, Remis, and Everflame arrive. House Bennett go where money goes, okay? So he makes massive sales from people off their fear of mortals. So he's the one who wants them off the realm. That's House Bennett. So Diem now says, we mortals were here first. So Everflame now said this realm was given to us by the kindred. So Diem corrects him with a mandate to protect the mortals. Everflame now says, with a mandate to rule over them as we see fit. It is no coincidence the crown has only ever been given to a descendant. It is our divine right. So Diem now says, my divine right, and I'll rule over them and you as I see fit. Everflame now threatens a challenge. To avoid one, Remis's compromise, perhaps exceptions from army service for mortals who work for the 20 houses. As for the families of the rebels, we can give them a week's notice to leave the realm. If they're innocent, they will go. If not, we'll consider it an act of solidarity with the rebels and arrest them for treason. This is awful, because where would those mortals go? The families. Where would they go? Which room? Commander Bellator, that is Andrea, he put something in earlier. He suggested something earlier. But Diem, with what Remis is compromising, she doesn't want to accept this. And her godhood is flaring, you get, because she's like, no, this is wrong, this is wrong. But then her eyes stray to Luther, who shakes his head. Now, after the meeting, Luther leaves with everyone, leaving Diem alone with her father. Her father now tells her, does your anger actually help those people? Or does it make you feel righteous while the situation gets worse? She's defensive but knows his rights. He now tells her that he's resigning from his role as advisor. She now tells him that she needs him. He tells her that he thinks it's selfish of her. And that makes her burn. It dawns on her that she wants to make her father proud. She's hurt. But she accepts his resignation. He's shaking his head. That's not what he meant. That, she tells him that it's okay. If you're not even going to be there for me, I'm going to do it myself. She strides off. So right now, Diem is in the dungeon with Tella and Lily, awaiting training. Lily is regaling Tella with stories of the Ascension Ball, how Queen Lydia was, and how she handled the Hanover house. There's definitely dramatics there that Tella's eyes pass to Diem's as per, did you really do all this? So Diem is now asking him, how have you been getting snorkeling? So they now explain that it's through an underground boat canal. The door to it is across from the dungeon. The place Diem was targeting the day she ran off in the palace is how he's been getting snorkeling. It has 2 guards who who are easily distracted. So the thing makes Diem worried about his security until they now tell her, oh, it's a blood lock that opens the door. So that means any Corbois can open it. Lily says no. It's just Diem and Tella who are the real royals now. So it's actually Tella's blood that opens that blood lock because it's her blood brother. So warmth spreads through Diem to then that she's actually truly related to Tella by blood, because based on all the secrets her mom kept, she was doubting that one too. Next thing, Alex comes rushing in. Something bad has happened. Tella can't go home. Alex makes him invisible and he now goes with Lily to one of the royal rooms. Diem's instincts are screaming. Saray is agitated as they approach her perch. So they fly on her to Diem's home that she hasn't returned to since the night she became queen. Right in front of the door, they're beheaded guards, the people that Luther put on to protect her father. Luther's arms up to his elbows are soaked in blood. He's trying to prevent Diem from entering, but she forces herself inside. There is dark crimson on every wall. And on it is written, mortal lover, half-breed, rebels come. Andrea is lying in a lake of his own blood. So still in the kitchen, he's dead. So what's running through Diem's mind right now is my father, who had taken me in when I was no one to him but someone else's bastard child, and who had cherished me as the most precious jewel in his life. My father, who taught me everything he knew, who never saw me as weak because I was a girl, who taught me to embrace it as my strength. My father, who had loved me unconditionally, even when I hadn't deserved it. Andrea Bellator, war hero, legendary and Marian army commander, advisor to the crown of Lemnos, beloved husband of Orali, devoted father of Diem and Tella, dead. Grief tears through Diem. Saray roars into the sky. The mother weapon is a Botoshan steel. Pale pink gemstones is twinkling at the head. So Diem is thinking to herself that she will get them for this. A violent, poisonous darkness infects her veins. Devourer of crowns, ravager of realms, herald of vengeance, fight. That voice comes. So Diem surrenders to that voice, yes. Luther is stroking her back. She asks him to go. He tells her that he's not going to. So she makes Saray break through the house to take him. Then she unleashes her power. It's a raw silvery power. It's blasting around her in an expanding sphere that is at once hot and cold, dark and light, life and death. It hisses with a deafening hum of energy that sounded and felt ancient. It obliterates everything. Her father's body, the blood, the phoenix medallion that Aemon got her, the jeweled steel, Breck's sword, the house, everything melts to ashes. The house is vaporized, the clothes on her back. There is no hope of her father returning. She starts screaming, clawing at her chest, burning, plunging into grief. Shouting penetrates her grief. A woman, a man, inhuman snarls, two hands wrap around her. There is this immediate feeling of safety that tells her who it is. That's Luther. His clothes too bent, but his skin is unscathed. So she buries her face in his chest and she's weeping. Luther now asks her, will she keep this from Tella? She says no. So he cradles her onto the ride back to the castle, where her home used to be. From Saray's back, she sees that it's now blackened earth. So Diem thinks that she's forged tonight. This is it. This is the end of this stretch, and we have one more episode to go. And this particular book will end, then we'll enter book 3. Book 3 that I'm definitely rereading. So it's going to have more detail, and I will not be saying, oh, I think it was this or that. Okay. So please look forward to it. And I really want to shout out to 4 people particularly. Texi, Tochukwu, Izu, and one other person really, Olive. 4 of you in different ways encouraged me while I was not posting, and I'm so grateful. Olive, who said, oh yeah, well, I wasn't really into the story, but you're gifted, because I know that there are times I'm so tired when I'm telling the story and I'm not able to channel as much emotions and joy. But thank you for, listening. Thank you for getting excited with me regardless. And all I can do is to keep being better, because I love telling this story. Even though I would have just abandoned and be like, what's the point? But the fact that I come back to it tells you just how excited I am. Even if I'm not very good at it now, I'll be very good. So thank you. See you next time, neighbor. Bye.